This reverb sounds really good. Let's check out this new reverb. It's the first reverb effect by Karyani Sounds. I'll be using this reverb to turn just basic synths into really lush sounding organic pads to show you how good this reverb actually is. You could use any reverb for this simple technique, but I will be using Polyspace, and you'll definitely see why by the end of the video. This is the reverb. It's called Polyspace. Before anything else, listen to how much this reverb makes this ordinary synth sound so full and lush. We'll have 100% dry wet, and we'll do before and after. It's very easy to use with only a few different parameters we can adjust. The magnitude essentially makes it feel more full of depth, and the longitude makes it feel like it's a longer, more stretched out reverb. Then of course we have the dry wet signal right here and a bypass by clicking off and on here. At 100% dry wet, we're only getting that full reverb sound, but it sounds so good. It doesn't feel washed out or muddy. It feels like it's actually the pad itself. If I dial this back, with the lush feel of that reverb, we can mix it in with the rest of the track. The reverb does take down a bit of the volume, so I'm going to push up the out gain just a little bit to compensate for that volume. And let's take a listen before and after. Obviously with Polyspace, it sounds so much more ambient and full and wide. It just doesn't feel so dry and stiff in the context of the track. Moving on to the second sound here, I have this lead sound. This time I'm going to use a different preset. The preset is called Distant Drones, and it's a small reverb, but it sounds really interesting. It's not just a tail reverb. It actually sounds like it's kind of modulating the sound, which sounds really cool. I'm going to put the dry wet all the way to 100% so we can hear only the affected signal. Kind of has like a chorusy kind of warping of the pitch, which is really cool that this reverb allows for not just tail reverbs, but also some sort of algorithmic reverbs, it seems like, as well. I'll dial this back down to about 30 or 40%. And listen in the context of the mix before and after. Of course, if I wanted to change this, I could adjust the magnitude and longitude, but I love how they sound already, so I'm just going to keep it as they are. This last pad I created is just a simple sawtooth wave. By adding a reverb to this, it makes it feel very far back in the mix, just to create a bit of tonal ambience. I do this in a lot of my tracks, and I find it helps fill up some of the empty space. Just a simple sawtooth and wavetable, but I'm going to use this reverb to create big sounding pads and soundscapes and ambiences by cycling through the different presets. Just by turning on Polyspace and going to this gentle touch preset, 100% dry wet, listen how different the pad sounds with the reverb off and on. It takes a very boring and stale sounding pad and turns it into something that's much more atmospheric and organic and lush. Let's cycle through some more of the presets to create even more sounds. even though I'm adding quite a bit of reverb, it doesn't feel like it's washed out as much as other reverbs do. That's one of the main reasons I really like this reverb. And the other main reason is just the sound design capabilities. The fact that I can put it to 100% dry wet and it really changes the style and sound of the original signal. I could pretty much grab any type of synth and throw that in here, add the poly space, and I can completely change how the original sound sounds. And I can turn these melodic sounds into full sounding lush pads. If you want to learn more about Polyspace and download the plugin, click the link up in the corner or click the link in the description below.